Yes, we are counting down to the ICC ODI World Cup. And to set it up, I am joined by a World Cup winner, no less, Dav Watmore. A big welcome to India.
Thank you, Diggy. Nice to be with you.
Okay. Dav's going to be WION's cricket expert over the next month and a half. And I don't think you need reminding. Dav has coached Sri Lanka, 96 and then 99. Pakistan, Bangladesh. Remember, these teams are playing this World Cup. He's also spent a lot of time around Indian cricket. He's coached the under-19 boys to the 2008 world title. Was also working at the National Cricket Academy. Now, the captain of that under-19 team was a certain Virat Kohli. Dav, more than 25,000 international runs since that Malaysia trip. Are you getting a feeling this is perhaps his last chance to win a second ICC title? Remember, 2011, he was there.
He was he was part of a very good side that won the World Cup. I think so, Diggy. You know, at 34, 35 years of age, another 4 years before the 50-over competition comes around again in World Cup. He's done a lot of good things for the country, and maybe you know, he'll be looking upon this as, you know, his good chance to try and bow out, you know, as a winner. Not just him, a few others, but I think it might be his last.
Okay, in fact, not just him, there could be others. I mean, Ashwin's 37, so it's Rohit Sharma. We'll get to all that in detail. But listen, you won a World Cup with Sri Lanka. It was a hell of a ride that was. But for all the money that Indian cricket has, for all the talent that Indian cricket has, for all the clout that Indian cricket has at the global level, it's been 10 years since Mahendra Singh Dhoni lifted the ICC Champions Trophy in England in 2013. Are you shocked or sort of surprised that India haven't added to that? Or do you think it comes down to bad planning? Or what do you think they're doing wrong?
Well, much to the sadness of a lot of people in this country. I think it's a combination, to be honest with you. Maybe the planning could have been a little bit better. Certainly the skill level in the Indian teams have been, I think, pretty good, you know, and good enough to, you know, to really go deep into those competitions. But I don't think we should take away from the opposition either. You know, there's been some really good, strong countries who have put up strong teams in World Cups. Australia being one of them, you know, in all different conditions too, not just, you know, where wickets are bouncy. And so I think, you know, it's a combination maybe of a very strong opposition, as well as perhaps, you know, the inability to perform maybe under pressure.
Okay, I have some numbers, and I'm just going to get up some numbers on our screen. This is India in the last sort of 7, 8 years, 10 years in ICC events. Let's just run through it. You can watch this, right? So 2014, India reached the finals, lost to Sri Lanka. Good team, that was a good team. Mahila, Sangakkara. The 15 World Cup, defending champions, lost to Australia in Sydney. I was there for that game. Then the T20 World Cup at home, where they looked very good, lost to West Indies. The sort of Sammy doing well there, Bravo doing well. Champions Trophy, best team in that tournament, come up against Pakistan, lose 3 early wickets, and they lose that. Then the ODI World Cup in 19, again losing to New Zealand, where they'd sort of done the hard work by keeping New Zealand to a low score, but then sort of lost wickets at the top. Then the 2 World Test Championship finals over there. The T20 World Cup in 2021 in Dubai was a complete shambles. And then last year, again, semi-finals.
Yeah, look,
it's a lot of this is finals and semi-finals.
Yeah, what I'm seeing is a team that's failed to take that last step to ensure that they actually take the cup. It is, no question about it. Cricket is played in the head. Once you begin competition, it's played in the head. And it's an easy thing to say, but really, under pressure, you got to try and keep it as simple as you can and make correct decisions.
But can you expand on that? Because, say, we are seeing someone like a Ben Stokes, right? Under pressure sort of comes up. Why is it that this Indian team under pressure? You look at the England game, at 50 odd, you know, in the World Test Championship final, perhaps trying to be over-eager, perhaps, you know, taking the wrong decision, batting first. I mean, just...
Yeah, I'm not suggesting it's easy either, Diggy, but, you know, when you've got...
But it's a pattern.
It is a pattern, it is, no question. That's what I was saying as well. So when you've got so many people in this country, you know, hanging on every ball that's bowled, And if you're unable to erase that from your mind and just be able to make a correct decision, if you're a batsman, you see the ball coming out of the hand, you process that information, you make a decision and you execute. Now, it's as simple as that, but it's as hard as that also. You know, it's easy to say, but when you look at Mahendra Singh Dhoni, I've never seen a guy so cool in all my career, really. He's just, not one muscle in his eyes or his face, you know, is twitching at all. He's just absolutely calm, and you can see it, and it has a really good knock-on effect. But it's, as I said, it's easy to say, but, you know, not easy to do sometimes. But that's what I'm seeing. They're just unable to take that final step, and it's played in the head. And
perhaps you think that if they manage to do that, then the floodgates will open. I'm just going to bring up some other numbers. You know, the final is going to be played at the Narendra Modi International Stadium in Ahmedabad. The last 3 editions of the Cricket World Cup have been won by the home teams.
Yep.
So can India end this jinx at home? Let's bring up the Indian team, and you tell me what you think about these about the squad that the Indian selectors have sort of put up. And yeah, and it's going to come up on our screens right now. Okay, that's pretty impressive, this batting. You know, Sharma, Gill, Virat Kohli, KL Rahul. You think that these 4 are locked on?
Yep.
Then you have Ishan Kishan, who sort of got big runs in a game in Sri Lanka. You stay there these days. And then you have Mr. 360, Surya Kumar Yadav.
That's right. It's very good. Nobody will complain of the skill level in that group of players. Wonderful.
Okay, let's move on. Let's get in the all-rounders. Okay, now you have Hardik Pandya and Jadeja, who you think will play every game. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
And there's Shardul Thakur as well. Perhaps Akshar Patel's injury, not exactly the best thing to happen for India. Let's move on to the bowlers. Yeah. Okay, this is the bowling lineup. That addition over there, Ravichandran Ashwin, wily old fox, you rate him pretty highly.
Yeah, I do.
Kuldeep is an X-factor. Siraj took 6 wickets, outstanding spell in Sri Lanka a couple of weeks ago. And Bumrah sort of come back. Yeah. He looks hungry, he looks healthy. And Shami is in reserve, which is a good problem to have Shami in reserve.
Look, he's a wonderful bowler, I'll tell you. You know, I reckon he may even force his way into the 11 during the course of that tournament.
Especially a game in Dharamshala against New Zealand.
Yeah, that's
supposed
true.
To do something over there.
But the guy Ashwin, who, as you alluded to, that I'm a bit of a fan of, he could almost put himself into that all-rounder bracket. We had 3 of those boys in there. He could be the 4th one there because he can certainly bat, you know, and he's very well experienced and it comes into the team, in my opinion, to strengthen it because he's the only off-spinner there. Whereas Akshar Patel, yes, he can bat, but he's another left-arm spinner to go with Ravindra.
We'll actually discuss that in more detail. When you won the World Cup with Sri Lanka in '96, you had X-factors. You know, you were telling me the story, you know, off camera. Romesh Kaluvitarna, Sanat Jayasuriya. They didn't get too many runs, but it was that shock and awe which sort of helped Sri Lanka. Who in this Indian team do you think are the X-factors going to take India to the World Cup title? Because if you go back to sort of the last one India won in 2011, it was Yuvraj Singh who sort of came up with this player of the series performance.
Unbelievable, yeah, very good player. You know, could break open a game at any time. So yeah, look, my answer to that question is not going to shock too many people, really. I definitely think that Hardik Pandya, even though he's slight of, you know, physique, man, he can really pack a punch, as we've seen. He can clear that boundary a long way, and he can turn a game. So he'll be one of my X-factors. The other one, of course, again, is Surya Kumar Yadav, who...
Sky.
Sky. He's just, you know, when he's on, he's...
The sky's the limit when he's on.
He's lethal, you know, and it's very difficult to try and plug gaps in the field because he can hit it anywhere. So, you know, he may fail in some of these games, but as we rightly said earlier, the games that he doesn't, I think you're going to find India will win.
Okay, now, the way I look at it, Dav, and we just saw this team, it's going to come up on our screens, 9 places I think are sorted. I think when India go in for that game against Australia, there's just a couple of places over there because you think that the Kohlis of the world, Rohit Sharma, Gill, Rahul sorted. The call India's got to make, which is Dravid, the management, and Rohit Sharma, is that do you go with an extra batter? Do you go with an extra bowler / all-rounder?
Look, it'd be lovely to have another all-rounder there, to be honest. And as we saw in that graphic earlier on, there's only 3 genuine all-rounders. When you look at their opposition in Chennai, they've got about 4 or 5 or 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
So they have the Australian team have a different dilemma to make, a selection to make, to which one to leave out. It's a nice one. But India, I think, would love, I'm sure, to have another all-rounder. So for that reason, I think Shardul Thakur might force his way into that 11 in that very first match.
But he's going to come in place of either Ashwin or Shami. So that's a big call India got to make. But do India play 3 spinners?
Well, you could do. You could
but
do.
The ICC's got control over the pitches. They're not going to exactly be ranked turners.
No, but I think it'll be flat, Chennai. I think it'll be flat. It'll be very good for batting. And India, if you've got the confidence that, the top order, boy, what a top order, will get the sufficient runs to then have, your X-factor players put the icing on the cake. Then you can have an extra spinner because, hitting medium paces, you've got pace to work with the ball. Once you haven't got the pace on the ball, then it becomes a little bit more of a challenge as a batsman to make the pace to hit back, down the ground. So that can also be an advantage for a spinner. But, it really comes down to whether, the Indian selectors and the think tank, the captain and the coach will feel very confident of their top 5, top 6, which will allow them to play an extra spinner in Ashwin, who knows that ground pretty well, eh?
Yep. You saw what this team did in Sri Lanka. Let's talk about the bowlers. You would expect your 3 regular starters, injury sort of, let's leave that aside, Bumrah, Siraj and Jadeja to bowl 30 overs.
Right.
So then you're looking at Hardik Pandya, you're looking at Kuldeep Yadav, who takes wickets but can be expensive.
Right.
And perhaps you need the insurance of
a 6th bowler.
6th bowler, because if you look at the Indian top order, you go back to the 83 World Cup which India won, or the 2011 one which they won, they always had people in that top order who could bowl. I don't see that with this team.
That's the difference. That's the difference, sadly, in this. I'm sure they would have loved somebody to come and roll their arm over and give 4 or 5 overs to help, to get those 50 overs in. But you're right about those 3 guys who can bowl the 30, and the other 20 will come from another 3 bowlers. So whether you go for that Ravichandran Ashwin as a spinner, or a Shardul Thakur, that's a question can only be answered when you look at the pitch, maybe overhead conditions. It can be a little overcast too at this time of the year there. But I think generally speaking, they're going to get big scores.
Okay. So if you get big scores, you've got to contain as well, right?
Yeah.
And that's where Jadeja's good.
Yep. He's very good.
So who attacks? So Kuldeep Yadav attacks, Bumrah and Siraj go at the top. But it's those middle overs where India sort of need to choke the run flow. We saw against that home game, Pakistan-New Zealand. That's what Pakistan's problem is, right?
Correct.
In that middle overs, they get hammered.
You alluded to that earlier, that Kuldeep Yadav, yes, he will give you some wickets in that middle, but he's also potentially going to be knocked around. And the day he doesn't get wickets, then it's going to be pretty bad for him. But, you would think he will pick up the odd wicket. So therefore, if he is going to get knocked around and won't bowl his 10 overs, then that 6th bowler can really come and help out a little bit, and that's going to be either Ashwin or Thakur.
Yeah, I'm going to get another graphics up on my screen. I wanted to react to that. The way I look at it, to reach the semi-finals, which is a bare minimum for India. Do you agree, bare minimum for India?
Surely.
On World Cup semi-finals. You've got to win 6 games.
That's my prediction anyway.
We'll get to that. 6 games, right, Daf? Okay. So let's look at India's fixtures, and they're going to come up here, and let's go match by match and see how sort of that works out, and let's look at the games. Okay, starting off with Australia, a tough game, but winnable game. Though India-Australia games at World Cups have been sort of one run here and there. Sure. But that's a game they can win.
Yeah, it can go either way, but I would think game number 1, a lot of crowd conditions, I think.
Pressure on India, they need to win this. Okay, let's move on. Okay, this one is not too far away from here. That's a given. You got to win that.
Yep.
You sort of need to win that. Sure. It's like the Ryder Cup, some players have to win their singles matches. Okay, the next one's the big one. This one. Now, India have never lost to Pakistan at all.
No, they haven't. And
120,000 people in Ahmedabad.
I can't see that happening in this one either. You know, and with Pakistan, they will say that they run hot and cold, don't they? It depends on what side of the bed they get out. Yeah,
you know, you've been there.
Yeah, I know. I did it for 2 years. Some days, boy, oh boy, they are world beaters. But other days, you think, what is going on? So I think, look, I can't see them winning, but you know they can give a bit of a scare because of their potential there to open up you know wickets in the middle order a little bit earlier than what India would like.
Okay, let's move on. What's coming up after this? Okay, Bangladesh in Pune. Bangladesh. This is a game India have to win. There's no sort of thing about it. Okay, let's move on. This one. Sort of a team which always gets India's vote, right?
Well, they do, and you know, often a team like New Zealand sort of flies under the radar a bit, you know, and teams still take them lightly. But you should not take them lightly because...
2 World Cup finals.
The last two. And, the last two.
And semis in 2011.
Yeah. They're a very, very good team, I tell you, and they just don't give up, you know, they don't give up.
They just know how to peak at the right time.
They do.
And they're consistent. Yeah. There's no sort of outstanding superstar over there.
No, there's none of that sort of stuff. They're very much team orientated, and they do a lot of things for each other on the field.
Okay. Next one. Big one. Big game.
Yeah, look, that was. I think those two will play off in the final.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay, we move on. That's another topic. Okay. Sri Lanka and Mumbai. In fact, Wankhede, where India won the World Cup 2011.
Exactly. It's a replay, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think Sri Lanka are heavily handicapped.
A lot last time?
Yeah, handicapped because 2 of their really good bowlers aren't playing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. South Africa. We don't know. South Africa sort of in that New Zealand radar right now, aren't they?
Well, they can't. You're right.
South Africa
they could be one of 2 or 3 teams that could make up the 4 in the semi-finals. Yeah.
Last one is the Netherlands. Okay, you have to win this. Okay, by this time, you sort of give your bench a run out. Okay, this is India's fixtures at this World Cup. You know, we asked Dav. We asked Dav to pick his best India 11 to start off this World Cup against Australia. So let's get that up on our screens. This will go off in a bit. But just talking as that comes up, the Australia game, have to win that, right, if you're India?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Good to start off with a win. I think everyone will want to do that.
Okay, here you go.
Yeah.
This is your 11, okay? So this is what Dav's gone with.
So I've gone for that 6 bowler, as you can see. Then 6 bowler to be a medium pacer, not the spinner. But I wouldn't...
You've gone with Shardul here.
I have, yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, if it was another spinner like Ashwin instead of Shardul Thakur.
You know what I'd say? I'm just an armchair pundit. You know, if these guys don't get the runs, these guys are never going to get the runs.
Yeah, but it's always also nice to know when you look over your shoulder, you've got that extra play in there that can do it. So, you know, it's a toss-up, but I think that's a very strong team. Absolutely.
Okay, that's your team. So let's see how close this one is. Before I sort of wind this up, I want to ask you to wear, you know, I don't know what, the mentalist or perhaps be the crystal ball glazer. Tell me where India's going to finish in this World Cup. Okay, remember, no pressure. This is India. We are in India. This is beyond. We're global.
Yeah. Well, you know, as I said earlier, that they will be semi-finalists, and my prediction was that they'll play they'll play England in the final, and you know both teams are extremely tough and strong. England have, I think, strengthened their 11, their 12, so I think it'll be a wonderful, huge final. But it's 120,000 people in Ahmedabad. You know, it's against the Barmy Army. You know, you have to go with the home team. That's the trend in the last few World Cups. So yeah, I think men in blue got a chance for sure. Big chance is what he says. They go with the men in blue. So you're saying. But for that, India need to be in the final. You think if India are in the final, they're favourites to win it? I think so, yeah. I think they'll do it, yeah. Okay, hopefully, Dav and I are going to be here, this place, on the 19th of November, and hopefully we are celebrating the end of a great World Cup, hopefully an Indian win. You don't know if India win, it's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night anyway, I think. It's going to be a long tournament, but
On that note, Dav, thank you for joining us and setting up the Indian team. This is the first of our previews. We're going to look at all the 10 teams who are going to be playing this World Cup. So you're going to see more of Dav, you're going to see more of me, you're going to see more of the WION sports team as well. So keep watching WION, keep watching our social channels as well. This is WION World of Cricket.